Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Voices of Resilience. We're back. Last week was a little different format with our panel discussion, but we're back to our normal format today, and I am so excited to introduce our guest to you in just a moment. But my name is Nathan Hofer, and I am the Director of Campus Operations for Lost&Found. If you don't know who we are or what we're about, we focus in on building resilience as part of a preventative mental health strategy for young adults. We focus on giving folks the tools on the front end so they can deal with issues as they come up. We're dealing with a bunch of issues right now in our world, and being more resilient is definitely something we can all learn a little bit more about, how to be able to handle the hard things that life throws at us and get up and keep on rolling. And so we focus in on that. We're very passionate about living in a world where people aren't engaging in self-harm or suicidal behaviors. And today, especially, I'm so excited to have Tammy Joy Lane on, as today is World Suicide Prevention Day, and that is it's a pretty big deal. It's a lot that's going on, and we definitely should be on the page of identifying and dealing with and supporting people who might be dealing with suicidal ideation, or have been victims of that within their family, their friend group, or been part of harming themselves. We should be aware of that year round, but this week, this month, and this specific time, it's super important to be focused in on that. And so Tammy actually just looked like she blinked out, but that's what happens. Technology sometimes goes wonky. And now she is blinking right back in. And I'm going to bring our wonderful guest, Tammy Joy Lane, into the stream here, everyone. Hi, Tammy.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on today.
I'm pumped about it. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself? All I said was you disappeared from my screen and I got scared, but you're here and everything's fine. Everything's good.
Okay, so I grew up the middle child of 10 kids. When I was 18, I joined the Army. I thought that would solve all my problems. And then I ended up going to war and came home. And the next 9 years, I was in and out of psych wards and husbands. And I moved 33 times and I just kept trying to outrun myself. And then my fourth husband left me. He said, "This is ridiculous. You're intolerable," were the exact words. And I realized I had to change. So I started using kindness as my drug of choice and kind of flipped things around for me.
As you mentioned kindness, I see in the chat here, my friend Nicole just spamming the chat just like she does. And oh, Nicole Phillips. Nicole has to deal with me tomorrow. She has to get interviewed by me. So, sucker. Remember, it comes back around. Tammy, I think we're having a little lag on the other side of your video stream, but we'll get caught up here. So I wanted to ask, as we hopefully get caught up quickly here, tell me a little bit more about your story. You kind of said kindness became your drug of choice, and I know from some of your videos and from our friends over at the Nicole J. Phillips team, they have brought into my realm your concept of pre-appreciation. So can you maybe tell us a little bit about what you do to focus in on kindness, as well as this concept of pre-appreciation?
Okay, so most of the time we say thank you after, but it's
Uh-oh. Tammy disappeared. Well, you're stuck with me then. I'll be entertaining into 5 to 10 minutes of stand-up here shortly. While we're here, I'll give some shout-outs. Lucas, hey, it's cool Peep right now, but Peeps will be back. Hopefully Tammy will be getting back in the virtual space here with us. And hello, Sarah. And Sarah, Lucas, Nicole, we're all here. And there's Tammy. We're back again. So, hey, there we go.
okay. So this idea of saying thank you at the time when it's most stressful. If you just picture a hostess like throwing a party, it's the week before the party that's so stressful. So imagine sending a note to her just saying thank you in advance for the party. It could lift her spirits. It could remind her why she's doing it. I know I've gotten myself into things and I'm like, why am I even doing this? But it's that little putting the pre and appreciation that just kind of acts as a reset button for people. And like love using it at waitress, like when I go to restaurants and I just tip first. And then like I've had waitresses cry. I've had waitresses just look at me like you have no idea what that meant for me. And it's something you're usually going to do anyway. You just shift the timing of it.
And how does that shifting the timing, what does that do for people's, for your mindset as the one who shifts the timing, but also those that receive that pre-appreciation?
So basically, it turns a common transaction into a connection. I first heard of this, I was at a hotel on a business trip I never should have been on. And I had the money in my hand. And this voice said, give him the money now. And I had it in my hand to give to him later. But as I gave it to him before, he opened up and he talked about his life and his family and how he got here. People that serve us are amazing. And I mean, I've had Uber drivers that are doctors that just cannot get their license. So it doesn't, just because someone's in a service job doesn't mean anything about them. So we just got to treat them better for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Isn't that, especially as we're in the midst of COVID, all these jobs that are essential, that people are like, oh wow, I didn't think of that as essential until it falls apart. um, you know, I Tammy, you didn't see it because your camera died on you here, but we also have Lucas here, and Sarah Tashin is here as well. Tash Money,
Hey,
as I have just called her for the first time ever.
I love Sarah. I love Sarah.
Uh, it's a good group over there. You
Wait, let me
you
interrupt
mentioned,
myself. I thought of something else. I use it in email. If I send an email, I um, thank you first. I write what I'm going to write and I go back and I just start it with thank you so much. Thank you for being here. And it's just changed how business has gone.
yeah, that's really cool. That's a nice way to start the conversation, with a thank you, because sometimes we don't get that thank you. We don't get that opportunity to say thank you, or to have someone say thank you back to us, and that makes things that can make things difficult, or when you're all said and done, make it feel like you weren't appreciated. Um, yeah, once again, as you see, we're having a little connectivity issues here, but um, we're gonna get them worked out. That's what this is all about. This is 2020, gang. This is technological difficulties abound. That's what 2020 is. And here's Tammy back. Like I said, she'd be back. I knew she'd come back. It's fine.
Life happens.
We're all about resilience here, and this is a form of resilience, is digging in, and we're gonna make it through this. Couple things. um, Nicole just said, do you need me to come online and talk to you about Tammy? Maybe. You want to join the room, Nicole? We'll just have you hang out. It'll be a party. um, and Lucas is sharing, he said this is a kindness pre-strike. I like that. I like that focus, that vision. uh, Now, Tammy, you mentioned your story a little bit on the front end here, um, and you kind of, and with that, you shared, kind of that background with, being in the military. So you're a veteran, being, having some, relational issues. I have a jet in the background that has nothing to do with this topic. I just feel like we need to address it and let it go away after that. But I know that has been one of many factors that has kind of, has been a part of, oh boy, it's been a part of impacting your mental health. You know, this is impacting my sense of well-being. Sarah, I might take you up on that. I might send you the link here. I think I'm going to. I think it's gonna be fun. We're gonna see what happens here. It'll be like a little improv roundtable. We'll just go off on some of the fun stuff here. It'll be fun. So, Sarah, I legitimately just sent it to you on Facebook Messenger. So you're there. I know you're on there. So you're hanging out in my chat. Well, you know what, gang? While we wait to get Tammy back, like I said, this is resilience in action, is it not? I do want to talk about World Suicide Prevention Day. There are a lot of things going on. I want to give a shout out to some of my friends over at the Helpline Center. They are doing a really cool event tonight. I'm going to put the event link in the comments here, which is going to be great, but it's called Live Through This. And it's going to be, someone talking about, I'm going to probably mess up the name, Desiree L. Stage, award-winning artist, mom, suicidologist, and activist. And I guarantee it's going to be awesome. So feel free to check that event out tonight. And Tammy is back. Tammy's back in the house. Now, Tammy, I do have to ask before I actually ask you a deep question here. Are you on the road right now? Are you traveling? Oh my God.
Yeah, we had some deaths in the family, so I'm heading to Utah.
I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you for spending some time with us, though. Also, I'm going to do this because, man, they are here. Are you on the road right now? Are you traveling? Look who we have.
It's a party.
What?
This is called
you, Nathan.
This is like a Zoom bomb, but it's different. It's a whole different level of uniqueness that we have here on this. It's kindness world right now.
Yes.
Tammy,
Hold on.
Tammy, did you just find out about a death during this show? Did you hear me, Tammy? Did you just find out about those deaths during this show? I don't know if she can hear me or not.
I don't know if she can hear you. I'll ask it. I'll ask it here. Maybe it'll come through on mine. Tammy, Nicole was asking if you just found out about these deaths, or that you like today, or if you. She's gone.
Okay. Well, Nathan, I've got a super great story about Tammy. You want me to tell it?
Please, yeah. Look at this. This is called, anyone who's watching, this is called a network of support right here.
Yeah. So when I started writing the newspaper column Kindness is Contagious, it runs every Friday. And I asked people to send in their stories of kindness, something that they had done or something that someone had done for them. And so this was back in 2011. And it's pretty lonely writing for a newspaper column because you write it and then you usually don't hear much feedback from people, unless they take the time to email you. Well, Tammy was one of the first people who took the time to literally write me these beautiful, colorful note cards with stickers on them and happy smiley faces. And she just reminded me that someone somewhere was listening to these stories of kindness and that they mattered. And so it was like, Tammy, your sort of support like that was really what kept me going. And it was like every once in a while I'd get another one from you and I was like, oh, she's still there. She still cares. Like somebody's still listening. And so that was really, really special. And I wanted to share that, Tammy.
Like I said, Tammy,
so
this is a network of support right here. She gone.
Okay. So since it's Suicide Prevention Day, Nathan, one of the things about Tammy that I learned from her that she shared with me was the suicide superhighway and the mental health behind that. And she allowed me to write about it in my new book, The Negativity Remedy. This is a commercial for me. My new book is called The Negativity Remedy. You can find it where books are sold.
Yeah, Sarah sent me a link to some of those specific pages. Tammy, they're talking about Nicole was talking about your superhighway.
The suicide superhighway. Would you explain that to people, please? It's really, I think, it helps people understand.
Okay, so it's this idea that it's an irrational pathway right to suicide. If something bad happens, say you get yelled at or someone hurts your feelings, I think normally people would deal with it and think about it. Well, I would go right to I should kill myself, or
She's breaking up.
Is some people have.
Well, you know.
She's breaking up there, but Nathan, I can tell you that some of the other examples she gave me is like, you know, she would drop a glass and the water would fall on the ground. And instead of being like, well, I guess I better mop that up, she would be like, I should kill myself. And that it was just this snap that came again and again and again, and it kept hitting her again and again and again. And that's pretty hard. I mean, think about how hard emotionally that would be to fight again every time, this negative voice in your head saying like, life's too hard, you shouldn't be here. So that was really interesting to me.
Yeah. Tammy, we got you back here. I'm so sorry. By the way, I know we already expressed it that we're sorry to hear about the deaths in your family, and I appreciate you calling in on the road here, even if it's going, you know, not as well as at least the technological side of things is rebelling against us, but it's 2020. Oh, shucks. Well, we'll just have a conversation here, all of us. Then we'll just keep talking.
So, Tammy, I was telling him that you let me use in my new book, The Negativity Remedy. You let me talk about some of your philosophies as to why people should say yes to kindness. And, you know, one of the things about why do we say yes to kindness is, you know, for the example, like when someone wants to be kind to us. So let's say Sarah and I are friends and we live in the same town. Okay, we are friends. We do not live in the same town, but let's just say that we did. And so let's say that Sarah is suicidal or maybe bipolar or really has some mental health issues in which she needs to just escape herself in a particular moment. She might call me, and instead of telling me that she's got anything going on in her mind that's harmful, she might just say to me, hey, can I pick your kids up after school today? You know, maybe take them for ice cream. Or can I just bring your kids home for you today? And I, being the person who thinks, well, I don't really want to, you know, I don't want Sarah to have to go out of her way, and that would be a burden. And then someday I'm going to have to pay her back. You know, you come up with all these reasons to say no. Well, what Tammy taught me is that we need to say yes to kindness. That's her website too, Yes to Kindness. You need to say yes to kindness because it's not about you. It's not about, you know, the fact that it's my kids she's picking up. It's the fact that she tries to escape herself. You know, especially I think early and in the beginning of this journey for her, she tried to escape herself through kindness. And by doing acts of kindness for others, she was able to reroute a bad day or a negative pathway in her brain because she could snap out of it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Sure does. And I think that's really telling. I think back as we see Lucas, my buddy, lurking, being on my team. Yeah, go Lucas. Not getting sassed by the kindness squad here.
Girls. Yeah, we're not sassing you because we're on this side of the camera now.
Yeah, I just
we're being nice today, Nathan.
I don't even know how to handle that. I don't know. What is this?
Yeah. Weird.
No, but what you're saying with that, I read that too from what you were able to put in your book from Tammy and I think that really hits home with the sense of it kind of ties back to Lucas. What I was saying is that those neural pathways, those connections that get made, and when you have those negative connections made to things, and you've developed this sense of I would say self-disdain or negative self-image or things like that. It is natural for when things go awry for you to go and boom, it takes it to the worst possible place it can go.
Do you live by an airport, Nathan? Because that's a lot of jets going by there. Come on, let us hear it. It reminds me of people traveling. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, I think it's the we're in the, not by the airport. We're actually on like the way west side of town here, and the airport's on the way northeast, but I think we're in the flight path. They're always flying over. It's all temporary.
How many more days till you're in your new house, Nathan?
That is a question, Sarah. That's a great question.
Are you living with your in-laws?
I am.
Yeah, so there's some mental health there, I would think.
Actually, it's actually been really great. We've had a nice little family space here our girls get to hang out with Mimi and Papa, and it's been really great. And right now, especially, it's nice enough to be outside. When the winter cometh, which is probably tomorrow because we're in South Dakota, it could change a little bit. But December, Sarah, that's the answer. December. And we have some highs here since this has turned into a whole different show. It's row with it.
Party.
And it's not Area 51, Bernard. It could be.
Hi, Bernard.
Hi, Bernard. Say hi to Gretchen for us.
It's more like Area 151 probably, because South Dakota is farther down that list. But since I have you wonderful folks here, we'll just have a whole different conversation. This is just going to tweak and turn, and we'll try to get Tammy back on if she pops into the stream, but also just in general, because her story is awesome. And I actually pulled up her YouTube clip here from a TED Talk, and so we'll maybe share that in a little bit as well. But how often do I have the opportunity to have you two wonderful people just pop into my it's like a Zoom bomb, but it's a StreamYard bomb. So we're gonna talk about other stuff here.
Nathan, I actually have a question for you. If that's
an answer. You
Okay,
don't get asked the questions.
I would like to ask the question today. So I remember you sharing something about sometimes it's helpful to give people something to do. And I forgot in what context, but it was talking about a plan or an agenda. So something to look forward to on the calendar. Do you remember talking about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't remember what I said. It was probably better than what I'll say now. But I know that when people, like I said, we're talking in regards to mental health and well-being, and looking specifically at its World Suicide Prevention Day, which on a quick sidebar, a sobering statistic I saw today is that worldwide, every 40 seconds someone commits suicide. That's not just, we're not talking the US, we're talking worldwide. So there's a whole bunch of differences there too, but it's a really sobering fact. But the thing that I see with people who are dealing with suicidal ideation, suicidal thoughts, when you can interrupt their plan and they have a focus on something to look forward to, part of what that is when you're dealing with suicide, because I've had my own struggles with that, where I've thought that was, especially when I was younger, I thought that was like my way out from some of the hard things in life. But if you had something to look forward to, you're like, hey, not today, because I really want to do that thing. I really want to do that thing that's coming up next week. And oftentimes just having that enough of an interruption, usually when you're in that kind of a suicidal state, sometimes that interruption phase, one of the things we work on with training people, and I'll give another shout out to our friends at the Helpline Center, because they do QPR training, which stands for question, persuade, refer. And it's all about when you're dealing with someone who's in a state of, a state where they're going to probably hurt themselves. You can interrupt that space, you question, you break into that space. And sometimes a 5-minute interruption is enough to keep them from that action at that point. And then you get them help. And it's the same kind of concept when you're looking planning ahead to the future. If there's something to look forward to, you don't want to miss out on that. It's like, oh man, I mean, something as silly as, movies are a bad example right now, but something as silly as like, oh man, that new movie's coming out and I want to see it. But it's 3 weeks away. And sometimes that's enough of an interruption. So when you have something to look forward to, the darkness doesn't seem so dark. There's a light to walk towards. And it's those moments where people feel like they have nothing going for them, nothing to look forward to, nothing to step towards, where we get into that state where that seems like the option that we should take.
Mm-hmm.
That's really such a good suggestion. And I was thinking about, I still fight off those dark clouds. And now I feel like it's not suicidal as much as it was when I was younger. And now it's more of, even the depression that I call it like a dark cloud, because I can kind of feel it wave over me and but I've been able to identify it coming. And so I am definitely a person who likes to plan something and have something to look forward to. But I've also found that when I wake up in the morning, if that cloud is already there, like, I will sometimes think, okay, what kindness adventure can I go on today? Like there's going to be something that I can do today. And, it might be little as, I don't know, going to the gas station and buying a funny magnet, or, a card with a cowboy with, yeah, exactly. A funny mug, or,
Funny. This is an inspiring mug. How
I'm sorry. That is inspiring.
Imagine your headphones, Nathan.
Or you can go to Starbucks and you can, just interact with someone and buy them a coffee or do whatever. But yes, I do find that when I can look forward to something, and, I don't always, sometimes you're like, well, not going on a vacation. There is no movie I want to see, whatever. So that's why I feel like kindness can really help when those sorts of things happen.
Yeah, my friend Wendy Dooley here says, love the idea of a kindness adventure. Wendy also is at the Helpline Center. Shout outs.
Awesome.
I'm gonna ask, since like I said, we're just pivoting. This is a whole new show all of a sudden. You've talked about those dark clouds. You just mentioned those dark clouds in your life. So I'm gonna ask a question. I'm gonna ask you tomorrow. The Negativity Remedy, this new book that you're writing, where did that kind of stem from? Where did that where did that topic come from? Yes, Sarah, we said
it.
That's graphic, like we all know. She also likes to say available in Kindle and Audible as well. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, I just noticed, Nathan, that I can look at myself 10 years ago and feel like, wow, I don't recognize that person from 10 years ago. It's like watching a movie of someone else. She was so sad and so angry and so disappointed in herself. And, that I was on antidepressants, and yet I still self-medicated with drinking and smoking and eating, and, and all of that just fed into the depression and into that. Those were times when the dark clouds didn't just kind of show up and then move out. Those times, the dark cloud would come and it would stay. And my husband even will still say, I hate that when I can see the dark cloud coming, because he can see it in my eyes, and in my face and in my expressions. He said, I hate that when I see it coming, because I remember what it's like when it didn't go away. So I took 10 years of really healing and trying to get to the point. I mean, now it's been 10 years. So no, within 1 year of being really intentional and systematic about kindness and really focusing on making each day a kindness adventure, I had quit drinking and quit smoking and, stopped overeating and stopped being so angry and stopped being so sad, and even went off my antidepressants, believe it or not. And so, I thought, I wonder if this is just me, if this is just like, it just worked for me. So then I basically spent the last 9 years talking about it and teaching some of the things that I had gone through and sharing my story. And other people would come along and say, it worked for me. It worked for me. And then Sarah, you're a testament to that. You've seen that happen. People come to us, and even on our team.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I feel like kindness works, and kindness is a tool. Once I learned about kindness, I learned, why it's so important to just put it into a daily habit. And what it does is it just helps you train your brain to focus on other people. So you're not so much focused on yourself.
Yes.
For me personally, it's been helpful to have a tool, when I'm faced with a situation where I don't know how to help someone, like the cancer diagnosis or like depression or like the real dark clouds that I can see. I don't feel like one of my strengths is talking to someone and meeting them in that place, but I know how to bring them cookies, or I know how to, ask if I can take their kids. And so that's why I think I love this language of kindness, because it's a tool for me to love on other people without feeling like I have to carry the whole entire situation.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's important. Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
No, I was
Nicole.
just going to say, so after, I mean, this book has been in the works in my brain for about 6 years. 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. So I stopped, I put it on the shelf. And then it was about, I don't know, a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years now. I just woke up one night and I thought, I have to write this. Tammy's back.
Yay. Now you're in the car.
I've been telling people all about you, Tammy, and you have a TED Talk that Nathan mentioned, and we've been so even though you're not sharing your thoughts, just know we are sharing your thoughts for you very much.
I feel so supported. I feel so like you guys just showed up for me, and thank you. And this is life. This is life. It doesn't work out, and look, magic happens.
Yep.
So thank you.
Yep.
That I'm not gonna lie, that made my day. Just like Sarah saying, like, invite us to the room. I'm like, what's gonna happen? Who knows? And then I saw them pop up. I'm like, they actually came. It's like having a party that you didn't expect anyone to come to. It was great.
Hey, Tammy, can I steal an interview question? Nathan, can I steal an interview question?
Yeah. This has become, like I said, we're doing a whole new thing today.
Yeah.
Unintentionally.
Will you please talk about the rock star that you have become in the gym physically, and just like, how did you take your life back in that way? I mean, you are going to be on American Ninja Warrior someday, right?
Yeah, tell me about this. I was supposed to ask about that, but Nicole beat me to it.
Okay. That was so 40 pounds in pre-COVID. I have lost it, but
you got it, girl. It's just, you got it.
So I decided I wanted to try out for American Ninja Warrior. And so I lived in Connecticut at the time. I got a pass to the gym there, and I was just like, I'm going to freaking do this. I turned in my application, which I didn't make it, but it was so much fun just trying. And my friend was like, I would never try because I would probably fall on the first step. And I'm like, I would try and fall on this first step and be so like, I would dare to fall on the first step.
Yeah.
And that I think holds people back, is they're like, I don't want to fall on the first step. But that's such a big, like, that you're even on the show is a big freaking deal. Or like moving forward in your dreams, whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and your TED Talk too. And listen to this. She's doing a TEDx talk, and she sends me the application because she's like, you should do a TEDx talk. I was like, wait, what? How did this become about me? This is supposed to be about you, Tammy.
Yeah,
sounds right.
I'm always thinking, like, who would do this? Who would be good at this? And like, I don't just think I'm the only one that has something to say. And so I feel so grateful that we found us. And then I found Sarah, and then Nathan, and it's just like, it's just magic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how do we help other people create that? What's the like, because this really started with you, Tammy, because you're the one who sent those postcards to me. So how do we help other people in their lives who are feeling lonely or disconnected create those kinds of fun friendships and bonds?
Okay, so you got to start smiling and waving and be friendly. Because if you have a scowl on your face, it's like, ain't no one gonna be your friend. And so if I'm working out in my yard, I just wave at everyone I see. And then I volunteer. Volunteering is good. And then, like I did with Nicole, if you look up to somebody or you appreciate what they're doing, tell them. Send them a card, a letter, a text, a fax, a tweet. Just because they're doing something daily, or you think they're like made it. Where's my... I'm backwards. I get made it. They're still probably a hot mess trying to wonder why they're doing this. I mean, it would be so much easier to just stop talking and eat bonbons. I'm just saying. So tell people who you appreciate that you appreciate them.
And Tammy, what we were talking about right before you got back on here was about, knowing, Nicole was talking about, recognizing these moments in her life and having people in her life recognize when these dark clouds are coming in. And Sarah was talking about, like she might not be the one to be able to talk to someone about that, but maybe she's able to, help and assist with something and show care in another way. And I think that ties into something you and I have talked about, is this importance of having, and you're doing it right now. You just said it. We're supported. We have a good crew here today that was unexpected, and we adapt and we adjust. But I think it's so important for people who are dealing with mental health issues, whether they're positive or negative. Mental health it's just like physical health. It's wellness. You got to take care of yourself. But the importance of a network of support, of connections being built, like. How cool is it that legitimately I got connected to you, Tammy, because of Sarah, who I got connected to because of Nicole, because of some friend of mine who said I should go to this conference, and I saw Nicole talk. And, it all leads circularly, but we get to this point where, we have this network of people who are around us. And I see that as such a critical piece of dealing with your as one of my friends called it, mental nutrition, and having that here. And this is a prime example right now today. Resilience in action and networks of support, y'all.
Yeah, and that's the importance, is building your safety net before you need it. And like, no one can help you off the side of a cliff if we don't know you're on there. And so it's just like asking for help and receiving help is so important, because as a society, and Christians or Buddhists or whatever human race, we have become really good at giving, but we all kind of suck at receiving, which actually stops the flow of kindness. And so receiving is actually part of this network, is allowing others to help you and to show up for you. And if you're always putting your hand up to say, no, I'm fine, then look, you're just stopping the flow. So just say thank you and let it in, even though it's sometimes uncomfortable.
Yeah. And then Tammy, can you say a little bit more about, like, I think Nicole already said it, your website is what, Say Yes to Kindness, Suicide Prevention. I think that's what your email comes up as when I shoot you an email. So can you talk about how that developed, and then how you leverage kindness as a way of prevention?
Okay, so the yes to kindness came, I had 2 kids. They were both under 1. And I was like having, what's it called? Postpartum psychosis. And I needed to do something besides like feed people and change their diaper. I needed to do something that felt like I was contributing to the world, and not just drowning in my own self. And I would offer to help people, and they would say, no, you're good. Just take these few years to take care of yourself, and you can help people when your kids are older. And I'm like, this is insane. And the more I tried to help, the more resistance I got to it. And I needed to give in a way that I could, more than anything, but it was not being received. And so I thought, if I could teach the world how important receiving kindness is, and just allowing someone to get that helper's high. If we flip it, where actually giving kindness is selfish and receiving is not selfish, because if you give, you get the helper's high. you get that reward of like the feeling of like helping. And then if you only give, it's like you're not being fair. You got to share the gift, share the give.
That's awesome. And it's sometimes frequently I'll bring that up. I'll bring your name up and talk about your philosophy on saying yes to kindness when I speak, especially to women's groups, because women are so weird about saying no and putting their hand up. I got this. I don't need your help. But the look of relief that you're able to give people because of those words, Tammy, is really something that I wish you were standing next to me when I talk about you, so that you could see the look of relief on people's faces when it dawns on them and they're like, oh yeah, I guess I should say yes to help sometimes. Oh, I guess that would feel good to the person who's doing it. And it would be a break for me. It's really special.
Yeah. Well, it's like we give, and our cup is empty, but then we give and then put our hand on the top of the cup. And so we're like, why is my cup so empty? It's freaking blocking the filling.
That's such a great analogy. Hey, Bernard wants to know if you do public speaking, by the way.
Yeah.
I actually tossed the link to your TED Talk in the comments as well, so people can take a look at that.
Thank you.
But that's a great example of your skills at public speaking. Boom,
thank you.
Love it. Oh goodness, man, I love this. I'm just blown away. This is a fun, surprising part of my afternoon. I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here. This is great.
Tammy, did we tell you? I think I told you like a long time ago, but did you get a copy of the Negativity Remedy? Do you know that we talk about you in it?
Yeah.
Okay. And you got a copy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure, because I was like, I don't know that we sent you one. So sorry if you had to buy the book.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, goodness. And Tammy, I want to say before I ask my next question, just a thank you for still being willing to do this conversation on the road. I know I don't know when you found out about what's going on with your family, but obviously it was after you and I had set this up, and you still stayed true to this schedule, and that we could have changed it. It would have been fine. But I appreciate that in here, and we're sorry to hear about the loss.
Too. Well, this week I've been thinking about why do we give so much when so when someone dies, we give all this energy, but why don't we give that when people are living? Why don't we give them, I don't know, it's just kind of flipping. Since COVID hit, we've had like 2 aunts die, 2 close cousins, 2 close neighbors, just kind of all happened. And it's just like interesting how people might make the trip for a funeral, but not before. And, if I imagine someone dying, I'm like mourning, but I won't live and be with them present when they're alive. So it's just interesting to think about. And that's the whole thing of pre-appreciation, is don't wait until someone's funeral to let them know they matter to us. Like, why do we say the nicest things at funerals? Mm-hmm. Tell them. Like, I started this habit where every morning I text someone or message them, and I just remind them of an experience I had that I was grateful for them. And I'm just like, remember that time you bought my Uber ride? Thank you so much. Like, and I tell people and loop them back into the appreciation you feel, because I think we feel it, but we miss that crucial point of looping people back in on their appreciation.
Yeah, love that.
Tammy, I learned something from my husband. When we first got together 20 years ago, by the way, there's construction in my house right now. I'm really sorry. But when my husband and I got together 20 years ago, he would always like just sort of jokingly, he'd be talking to his buddies on the phone and go, okay, love you, bye-bye, you know, and he would hang up the phone. And so like, I was like, you're telling your buddies you love them? Like, this is hysterical. Like, he's being funny, right? But it occurred to me, like, why wouldn't I tell the people that I love them? And so now it's hard for me to hang up the phone when I'm talking to anyone. I mean, ask Sarah, we'll have a team call and I'll be like, okay, I love you, goodbye. And I mean it, you know, it's just like, I'm with you that the time to say that I love you, that I care about you, I'm glad you're around is now. It's not later.
Yeah, the first couple times you started doing that, it caught me pretty off guard because we didn't know each other that well. And she would say, love you. And it took me a little bit to get used to saying it, but it's
You're like,
yeah,
whoa.
I wanted to say what you meant.
What, Nathan?
Said you were like, whoa, a little early in the relationship for that. Don't drop the L bomb on the first date. My God.
I know. We need to define the relationship here before we do that. Well, and there's plenty of times that people don't say it back to me. I mean, my dear friend in Fargo, who, you know, is my bestie, has known me in my worst days and in my better days as well. But I always will say to her, I love you. And she'll either ignore me or she'll say ditto. She hates sappy. She hates it. And so it's pretty fun to, you know, I don't care if you say it back to me or not. I just want you to hear that I think that you're really special.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, I cut you off though. What were you saying?
So
Sarah?
I was just going to share, I asked Nicole about sharing the part of the book, Tammy, that it's page 85 in Negativity Remedy. And I asked her if we should post it on social media, just the part that talks about your brain being like a highway, and it talks about kindness. And actually, when I was outside getting some exercise in, I thought, you know, I wanted to share it because today is, you know, World Suicide Prevention Day, and that makes sense, right? Negativity Remedy, page 85. Tammy is yes to kindness. Nicole is all about kindness is contagious. But we already have a couple things posted, and I thought, why not share it tomorrow? Why not share it Saturday? Why not share it on a different day? Because that's also important too. And I think to what we're talking about, like, it can be good to bring everybody together on a day like today to remember, you know, the importance of mental health and suicide prevention. But sometimes it's even more meaningful to reach out to our friends that have lost a loved one, not on today, like in 1 week, when we're still remembering them. So yeah, I didn't tell you that yet, Nick, but I think we're going to share it on a different day.
Yeah, share it on our page too. Send it my way. I'd love to put that up there. And I'd like to say too, as we talk about Suicide Prevention Month, week, you're spot on, Sarah. It's that it's a way to be aware, but it should be a reminder that we need to look out constantly, because we never know what someone's going through, because we're really good at hiding things behind closed doors, especially for our I think about, we're focused pretty heavily on young adulthood, and I'm thinking it's really been on my heart and mind this year. Students coming back in the time of COVID, what does that look like? You know, what does that look like for their emotional well-being when we're still in a trauma state? You know, so I think this is the light that says, this is like the driving your stoplight, but it's the yellow light that says, hey, slow down. Let's take a second to note what's happening in the world, and then let's focus. But let's make sure that when when it's green, that we're going forward and we're doing the same thing. We're not hitting a red light, and it's like we're getting there. We're like, this is an inverse light. We're hitting the yellow. We're not stopping. It's turning green and we're going. We don't want it to turn red. We don't want it to stop. And before I know Tammy, it looked like was going to say something. I'm going to throw two things out. One, we got a love for the pre-appreciation, and Bernard says, you've been transformed, and it's very cool. And I think that does speak highly to the power of our own minds as we look into wellness and well-being and how we stay healthy and well. You know, how impactful that piece of it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it's like mental health should be as important or more important than dental health. We don't just brush our teeth when our teeth hurt, or, every 6 months we go to the dentist, or that's what they say. But I'm just saying is,
Are we supposed to do that?
oh, Joe, are you not doing that? No judgment. Okay.
Not 6 months.
Nathan.
Okay, apparently everyone didn't have the dentist come in 4th grade. Okay, so, but I'm just
Okay,
saying, like,
settle down.
we got to do that daily mental hygiene, check. Are you using everything, always, all the time, those words that cause like adrenaline in your body? Or are you like, okay, not everyone hates me. It's 3 people in my house right now. That's a lot more easy to deal with than everyone, and like all the time. Like even driving today, I was like replaying how I could have not made this happen, and I was doing my suicide superhighway, and I'm like, no, I'm so supported. The show goes on, Nicole's there, Sarah's there, and I'm gonna get, and it's just re-looking at finding the good instead of what's wrong.
And I'm going to give a shout out to her name is Courtney. She's on our team. We have a pretty great team. I think they're pretty swell. But Courtney shared something earlier today that we're talking about. Where if someone breaks their leg, we don't say they'll fix it themselves. They go get help. They get treatment. They get the support they need, and then there's a healing period. And with mental health, we often say, you can handle that yourself, right? And it's the same thing, and we battle that stigma all the time, and it's super important to look in there. Yeah, it's not Area 51 though, Bernard. I know it's another plane. I don't know what's up today. Apparently, this is a travel day. Who knew?
Hey, Tammy, I have loved seeing you and talking with you. I have a daughter who is going to a cross-country meet right now. We are doing those still in South Dakota. And so I have to jump off so I can get to the field to see her. But Tammy, you have made a difference in my life. And I just want to say thank you for being there when, the world felt really quiet to me and I wasn't sure if it really mattered. So thank you to you. I appreciate you. All right. I'm leaving the studio here. Bye.
Bye.
This is so good. I like I said, it's a nice surprise. So, as we're getting kind of towards the end of our time here, Sarah, you're still in here, so I'm going to make you answer too. If you're,
I'm here.
like I mentioned earlier, I think about this state that we're in for everyone. Things are ever changing. We've kind of lost some of our semblance of control in our lives. So with that, I think we've already seen a rise in mental health needs and issues come to light. So, and I think there'll be more. I don't have empirical peer-reviewed research to back that up, but it's my observation. And I'd love to hear from both of you what kind of advice, what you would say to folks who might be struggling right now as we deal with mental health issues.
I would say don't wait until you're in crisis. Make sure you have someone you can call, someone you can talk to, someone to reach up to, and someone to reach back to. If we always just keep one hand looking forward and one hand looking back, it kind of helps both ways, and not waiting until it's too late and no one shows up, because no one knows you're not okay.
Nathan, this, I'm not good in this seat like this with questions.
You are good at all the seats. You're fine.
The word that comes to my mind is connection. And to just be brave and try to reach out. If you're struggling, like, be brave and try to tell someone. It doesn't, just someone that you trust, someone that you care about. Don't let it just sit and simmer. Be brave to talk about it, because there are other people going through the exact same thing. There are, and we shouldn't be suffering alone. And same thing for the people that maybe aren't as in deep and dark of a place to, if you're doing okay, also be the one to connect and reach out to help. Like look for other people that may be struggling or that you're thinking about. If someone is placed on your heart or your mind, send a text out and say, hey, I haven't thought about you in a while. How are you doing? So for me, the word is all about connection, like connecting with people and staying connected. For me, I know if I go a couple days without talking to people, then I just know I need to do my work and connect. Oh,
I'm gonna say this has been one of the most beautiful voices of resilience we've done, because Tammy, I know that tech stuff was terribly frustrating. I could see it in your eyes, and for anyone watching, they were probably sick of me talking. They're like, "Gosh, shut up."
it's your mug, Nathan. We gotta change that mug.
R2D2 is special. Don't
How about
you
this?
dare.
Nicole said this one to me. Kindness is so gangster.
I mean, I like that, but R2D2.
I love it.
I just want to emphasize here. There's another plane, Bernard. You're counting. That's 3 or 4. I want to, before I kind of wrap up the show here, I want to throw out a couple things. Andrea very much echoes what you're talking about.
Andrea.
She's on that kindness squad.
She's on our team.
And Wendy once again said this has been time well spent for me and my heart. And I know the amount of energy that goes into caring for others and how that can be really hard, but it's so important to build your network of support. Like I said, this has been one of the more beautiful voices of resilience we've done, because everything kind of fell apart, but it all came together too in a very different, unexpected way. And I love it. I love that. Yeah, Tammy and Sarah, you both talked about people around you, and this is a prime example of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Nathan, for creating this platform that we can have a party on.
Yeah, I owe that back to the Nicole J. Phillips team, Kindness Squad team too. I didn't know about this until y'all.
And we owe that to a pastor in California named Neil Nybo, who showed us this platform.
All about connection, people.
All about connection.
And before we wrap up, I want to say one last thing is that and you have both touched on it. Look out for people in your spheres. Check in on people, just because it's World Suicide Prevention Day, National Suicide Prevention Week. There are millions of people in our country specifically that are dealing with ideation for suicide. Millions of people who've thought about it. Another set of millions who've made a plan, another set of millions who've maybe even made an attempt. But we don't want to have that. I keep saying every week when we do these things, I'd love to work to a point where I don't have a job anymore. I don't want to have to be talking about, I want suicide and self-harm to be gone. That's the goal. That's the dream. And so you're all part of that. Make your network, look for those dark clouds, support one another. And, those of you out there who are maybe struggling, statistics say, 1 in 4 people have had thoughts of suicide. And so you're not alone in that. You're not by yourself. So it's okay to reach out to people. It's okay to find help. And I encourage you to do that. And like I said, check out, our some of the events in your neighborhood. I mentioned the one with our friends over at the Helpline Center, and I'll link that. I did put that in there already. Just kidding. I already put that in there. Check it out. It's in our comments below, so you can go check that out tonight. It's a virtual event. And then, we're Tammy, we're going to have you back, and it's going to be a tech-free issue, and we're going to have a great time. It's going to be awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks so much.
And lastly, before I forget, oh my gosh, we just got sponsors. I don't want to forget our sponsors. Oh my gosh. The Astrup Family Foundation and American Bank and Trust, thank you for sponsoring Voices of Resilience. We love doing this. I love doing this. I get to talk to wonderful people, and it's my job. I get to learn new things, and hopefully, you all get to be a part of making a difference. So thank you, Tammy, for being here, and thank you, Sarah and Nicole, for hopping in last minute.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy.
Well, I'll see you all next week.